Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're back here talking about the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, even though they've won 5 straight football games, they're currently 9-4. One of those wins was against the just beloved Kansas City Chiefs, led by Patrick Mahomes. I'm still not really seeing too much about the Cincinnati Bengals. So I saw this tweet here. They're 9-4, right? They're projected to be 11-6. Now, based on 1 week ago, they had a top 5 hardest remaining schedule. But, I still don't really get it. It's like they're 9-4. They started the season 2-3. This is the hottest team in football, right? So they have a 98% chance to make the playoffs. They have a 39% chance to win the AFC North. I would imagine that is because, I guess if they're projected to go 11-6, whoever's making these Vegas, the odds makers are thinking Cincinnati's going to have a hard time against Tampa Bay or New England or who's that last team? Buffalo, and then last week against Baltimore. I'm not quite sure. 7% chance to make the Super Bowl. Just some fascinating statistics. The Bengals are favorites this week against Tampa Bay, and they have a 60% chance to beat the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are 6-7. They just lost 35-7 to Brock Purdy in his first ever career start. Now I know San Francisco has one of the best defense. They have probably the best defense in the National Football League, but Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have put up over 21 points twice this season. So I thought 60%, it's still a little confusing. I guess, Tom Brady, anything can really happen, although that has not been the case so far this season. Now, when we take a look at Cincinnati, my big thing has been, I've been preaching on this just like you guys in the comment section the last week or so, just get and stay healthy. Really, that's all it boils down to. We have the injury report here. Some guys who did not practice today. Trey Hendrickson, Hayden Hurst. Apparently, Hayden Hurst probably just definitely won't play on Sunday. Mike Hilton and Jalen Davis. Now, the good news is you had Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. They both are practicing already. So I saw somewhere that Boyd's saw a bone. I don't know if that was real or fake or whatever, but it's really cool. Both those two cats are ready to go. Joe Burrow did a phenomenal job without those guys and Hayden Hurst. And we'll talk about that a little later on in the video, some secret weapons, some X factors. But before we do, if you guys enjoyed this video, hit the like button, hit that sub button. Bengal Nation, you guys have continuously blessed this channel, so I appreciate you guys so much. I am very excited for the Bengals' remainder of the season because when we take a look at their schedule, their last 4 games are against top 10 defenses. Now, I've already expressed my concerns with Tampa Bay and why I don't think Tampa Bay's all that great. They're also very much banged up. Tampa Bay is on the downhill trend just as a team in general. Cincinnati all the way on the uphill. New England, James Conner had the Cardinals in general this past Monday, a couple of nights ago, the Cardinals as a team ran for 5.1 yards per carry. New England, Mac Jones, not sold on him quite yet. I don't know if I ever will be. Not trying to rag on the New England Patriots because I know Bill Belichick is a phenomenal coach, and defensively New England is still good, but I don't get why Cincinnati isn't. Right, I get that it's in New England. I still just don't really understand the disrespect. Buffalo is going to be a fascinating game, and then Baltimore also is going to be a fascinating game. Now, Buffalo, for some reason, they have a really good defense. In fact, they're ranked second across the board. The thing with Buffalo, and I haven't been able to quite put my finger on it, I wasn't sold on them last year. They still don't really have a running attack. It just feels like a completely different Bills team. I know that they're 10-3, but it feels like a different Bills team than it was last year. They don't seem as explosive. They've been struggling to put up points, but that defense is keeping you in every football game. And then finally, Cincinnati does have the Baltimore Ravens, and I know they struggled against them earlier on in the season, but if we go back to it, that was to get to 2-3. That was right when things started to flip a switch for this Bengals squad. The offensive line was a mess. Everything was kind of a mess. Whether it was injuries or the offensive line play with new guys, whatever the case was, it was just a completely different Bengals team, and this was also months ago, so I'm not putting too much stock into it. By then, I would imagine Lamar Jackson is ready to go. I actually kind of like that. I get that the Ravens have a really good defense, but I just am not quite sold on that Ravens squad. when we look at this, we have a tweet here from Red Wing Victory, which, by the way, Bengal fans, if you guys have Twitter, follow me down below. Link is in the description. I don't have any Bengals stuff on the timeline. I got to go out and seek it. So we have a tweet here from Red Wing Victory. The Bengals have now won games without Chase for a month, without Chase and Mixon in the same game, without Reader for over a month, without a top 10 corner and their best corner in Awuzie, and then down Hurst, Higgins, and Boyd yesterday. It was a couple of days ago. So it just kind of goes to show you the level of disrespect. But that is definitely nothing new. That's the one thing I've grasped from covering this Bengals team for the last 2-ish weeks is, it actually is kind of cool. Having a little chip on your shoulder, getting no love from the national media. Why do you need love from the national media, right? I guess it's nice to get credit when you do, but, a Super Bowl ring would do just that. And I have a strong feeling that once Cincinnati, not trying to jinx them, once they win out, we'll knock on some wood here. And I kind of actually like it both ways. A little, what's that word? Not conspiracy, but like if Cincinnati wins out, great. And if Kansas City just loses one more football game, then they have the number 1 seed. If they don't, if they go like 3-1, well, that's perfectly fine to me because superstitious is the word. Maybe you don't want to go end the season out with 9 straight wins. I don't know if you are superstitious. I'm not particularly superstitious, so it's a win-win, right? I think it's kind of a win-win. But those last 2 games are going to be huge, and then these next 2 games also are huge because you're just on the road. It's harder to go into opposing fields and stadiums with their fans and win those football games, but I just am not worried about Cincinnati. And we have these X factors here, which we really saw this past weekend with T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd getting injured. You saw Trenton Irwin with that beautiful flea flicker play. You also saw Trent Taylor step up. Those 2 players are nice little secret weapons, nice little X factors in my opinion, because to me, those are 2 guys I can rely on. I can lean on those guys if shit hits the fan. Like if somebody went down for a couple of series or went down for a game, those are 2 players that I actually feel very comfortable with. It was also nice to see Jamar Chase getting back to his usual antics, 10 receptions, 120 yards, and a touchdown. I do anticipate we'll see more Samaje Perine moving forward for these last 4 weeks. I'm not worried about Joe Mixon. He had 14 carries for 96 yards last week, but I do want to see Samaje get more than 4 carries because I like the 2-headed monster, right? I like just kind of the creativity, opening up the playbook, having 2 perfectly capable running backs, but I want to prioritize health, right? I just want to prioritize health, so I don't want to risk anything. I'm not saying, Joe Mixon needs to be like extra rested, but I liked that 14 carries, and then Samaje, maybe just get him a couple more because he was an absolute beast when Mixon was out. He's a beast in general. I know he had a couple of drops in the first quarter in that game against Cleveland, but this defense, they're up to 11th in the league right now, and we talk about it every week. It's very biased because, as I was alluding to earlier on in the video, when they started 2-3, everything was just kind of, it was just kind of scrambled. Everything was a little scrambled on both sides of the ball, and it's hard to really analyze football teams or in any sport for that matter in the first month of the season, right? Everyone's kind of trying to get on the same page, trying to get that timing right. Just build chemistry, right? Build rapport with each other. So this defense has been an absolute wrecking. They're wrecking teams. We saw Nick Chubb, and keep in mind Cleveland with Chubb and Kareem Hunt. They're one of the best rushing teams in the entire football league, and we saw Nick Chubb get 6 rushing yards in the second half. I know they were down, but still, one of the best running backs in the league with 6 rushing yards. And they also held Derrick Henry a couple of weeks ago to just 2.2 rushing yards per attempt. And that was 3 weeks ago. And then 2 weeks ago, we saw Patrick Mahomes throw for like 223 yards. So I'm feeling very good about this defense. All those guys who are injured will monitor the situation because it's only Wednesday, right? It's only Wednesday. This is a healthy Bengals team. This is a relatively healthy Bengals team right now. And I need it to stay that way because if this team is either at full strength or right at full strength, I'm having a really difficult time grasping who is going to beat them on their last 4 games. I know they're good football teams, but that's kind of discrediting the Cincinnati Bengals, who are on an absolute heater right now. They've won, 7 of their last 8. They're on a 5-game winning streak. It's being very slept on. So Probably get another Bengals video to you guys before the week is up, so hit that like button, hit that sub button for more Bengals content. But let me know what you're thinking down below.